Hey, how's it going? I'm Chris and I'm back with another Tentbox review video, but this time things are a little bit different. I've driven all the way down to the south coast of England to a place called New Forest. The sun's shining, the sky's blue, and I'm here with one of the brand new tent boxes. So this is the first ever video review anywhere in the world of the brand new Tentbox Lite 2.0. So here it is, the Tentbox Lite 2.0. Designed as a follow-up to the first Lite model, the Lite 2.0 is the latest offering from Tentbox, along with the Lite XL model. According to their website, the Lite 2.0 comes packed with some great upgrades, including, but not limited to, an additional skylight, a brand new memory foam mattress, a foot-friendly stepladder, and a new rainfly cover with fewer poles. Off the back of my previous videos, Tentbox invited me to take this tent off for a couple of days, to produce an open and honest review about my experience with it. I decided to make two versions of this video, a shorter one and this one, the longer version. If you don't like long videos, be sure to check out the shorter version on this channel for a quicker, less in-depth look at this tent. Hopefully, this video will help you decide whether the Tentbox Lite 2.0 is for you, and I'm positive that after watching, you will be even more excited for your upcoming adventures. Remember to subscribe, and I hope you enjoy. Now, this video is all about the Lite 2.0, and put it like this, Tentbox trusted me to come and do this video. They loved my content, they thought it was passionate, impartial, very informative, very precise, and they said, look, we want you to come down, film some videos, not for us, I'm not doing it for Tentbox, they've literally just given me the tent and told me take it away for a few days, do what you do, and see how you get on with it, and that's exactly what I've done. Now, if you, after watching this video, you do decide that you want to buy a Tentbox tent, hopefully it's a Lite 2.0, whatever tent it's going to be, if it's a Tentbox tent and you fancy ordering one, use my exclusive discount code down at the bottom of the screen, Christopher Greenwood, at checkout, to grab yourself your own discount as a thank you from me on ordering your Tentbox tent. Now, one of the big considerations for me when I was deciding whether to get rid of my cargo and buy my Lite XL was to do with how long it took to unpack this tent and set it up, and how long it took to pack it away versus the Tentbox cargo. So I wasn't sure how I was going to get on. I'm thinking, God, is this going to take me like 10 or 15 minutes? Do you know what I mean? Like, I didn't know what to expect. So let's see how that went. So here's how you set up the tent. First, you remove the straps from the outer cover and then unzip the cover all the way around. Once you've lifted the outer cover off, you can simply roll it up and strap it loosely into place. There's no need to remove the outer cover completely, and it's a far more convenient solution than with the previous Lite model. There are two more straps to undo, which are attached to the base, and then you can extend the ladder out towards you. Next, you need to push down on the ladder and in the same movement, pull back on the ladder to bring the base over into a level position. Adjust the ladder if you need to. Next, simply remove the poles from the pouch and insert them into the base to set up the rainfly cover. The biggest take I had from setting up this tent compared to my old cargo tent is to invest in a stepladder. It will make life far easier for both setting up and packing away, especially if you're shorter or you have a higher vehicle like mine. At just under 6 minutes, this was a good first attempt, but with more practice and my wife to help, we could easily get that down to 3 or 4 minutes. It's also worth mentioning that the Lite 2.0 comes in two colours. The first is a brand new sunset orange colour, which is the one I have for this video. The orange is lovely, and I liked it in person much more than I thought I would, but I personally prefer the second colour, which is the new slate grey. And that's what I've ordered for my Lite XL. I felt the grey might be a little more inconspicuous while camping off-grid, but take nothing away from the orange, it's stunning and received a lot of compliments from fellow campers while I was making this video. So one of the next things I want to talk about is basically just the build quality of the tent. Now, I'm probably going to mention this again when I go upstairs inside because it's an important issue. But so far, based on my experience, I actually think this is a better build quality than my original cargo was. Just the quality of the fabric and everything is massively upgraded on, at least in my experience, what I received from my product when I bought it 3 years ago, which you would expect. Obviously, Tentbox
have made their own judgments on what they need to improve. They've looked at community feedback on things that the public have said, you know, people who've bought the Lite 1.0, obviously those people have made feedback, and the improvements they've made are massive. So I'm going to go through a lot of those things today, but one of the big things was, like I say, just the quality of the material is fantastic. The new Lite 2.0 comes with these patches on the side, basically kind of like stitched in. Really good quality stuff. Looks fantastic. This bit here, the black fabric, it's basically it's like a rainfly. If you take it off, the tent's kind of in summer mode. When you put it on, it kind of covers you in non-summer weather, if that makes sense. So it is like a rainfly cover. However, what Tentbox have said to me is that they're calling it the hood, so I'm going to refer to it as the hood, okay? But essentially, the way it goes on is it just clips on here with these belt buckles. So there's one on each corner, and essentially it just peels off. Obviously, these poles here are in place basically to keep the front of the hood up, so obviously they would need to come off, but essentially just to take the hood off, you've just got to remove the poles. So obviously that includes the poles on each end and the poles sort of in the middle as well. And I've just hung some festoon lights up for decoration, which look lovely at night. I'll try and get a video shot of it at night all lit up. It looks fantastic. I opened up the inside roof covers, which I'll show you inside afterwards when I go inside, so I could lie there and look up at the stars. I still had the fly cover on, like the rain cover, the hood on top, but that has like a clear plastic screen, so I could still see through, and I had the fly net closed, but I could still see through and look at the stars, and it was fantastic. So I just wanted to kind of say, like, bravo to Tentbox on the build quality, because it's very, very good, very impressive, feels like a solid tent. I mean, I said a similar thing about my cargo, and that was still true at the time. I do feel this is better. So yeah, very, very good job, and bravo on the build quality. Now, one of the things I briefly wanted to mention was about the weight of this tent, and I'm not going to go into too much about roof load limits and things like that, but the Lite models are designed to go on any vehicle, and that's one thing that they wanted me to stress to you. If you're unsure, if you're in doubt, drop Tentbox a message, ask them. They can advise you on your vehicle and on the roof bars you need to get, and also on whether the tent will fit your car. But generally speaking, it's designed to fit any vehicle, which is another big tick in the box towards the Lite models. Now, the next thing I want to chat to you about is basically size and space, okay? So according to the information that I have, this tent is 220 centimeters long. So in length, when it's folded out, it's 220 centimeters long. Width-wise, it's 133 centimeters. So 220 length, 133 width. Now, comparing that to the new XL tent, which obviously I'm going to get my hands on in a couple of weeks' time, the XL is 20 centimeters longer, so 20 centimeters longer in length, and then it's 50 centimeters wider, so 183 centimeters wide. So it's a lot wider tent, which is why it's basically a 4-man tent. That's the way it's being pitched. Now, me and my wife have ordered it for us because my wife likes to stretch out. Many ladies do, but then obviously we don't have kids, we don't have dogs, but so we've gone for the Lite just for the extra space, which again I'll talk about in my video. But just to give you a heads up, this is 220 centimeters long, 133 centimeters wide. Now, Tentbox are pitching this as a 2-man tent, whereas the Tentbox Lite 1.0 was a 2 to 3 man. So this tent, second version, is actually a bit smaller than the first version. So one of the questions I asked at Tentbox yesterday when I collected this was, is the Tentbox Lite 2 replacing the 1.0? And basically what they said is no, both tents are going to be on sale side by side because they're different. One is a definitive 2-man and one is a 2 to 3 man. So the first one, like I said, it is bigger, and they're going to keep both on sale because the Lite 1.0 may still appeal to a certain type of person who needs a bit more space. The big thing to consider is the price. So obviously a lot of people, when they buy a Lite over a Cargo or a Classic, do so because the Lite models are more in their budget. Now, also consider that we've switched from a Cargo to a Lite XL, which is cheap. It's a cheaper priced tent, okay? So when I say cheaper, I don't mean a lesser quality tent. I just mean it's a cheaper priced tent. So there are people like me who may go from a Cargo to a Lite XL, or even people who haven't got a Tentbox and maybe would have gone for a Cargo or a Classic, but may choose one of the other tents. But often, people who've gone for Lite have done so for budget reasons and spending and stuff like that, and totally fine, absolutely fine. Obviously some people can't afford the cargos and the classics, absolutely fine, no problem with that whatsoever. What I would say is that there are still going to be people who are shopping in this price range who need a 3-man tent, who can't afford the XL, so they'll still go for the Lite 1.0. So it's there for a reason. So they're still going to put both tents on sale side by side. So you'll still be able to buy the 1.0 and the 2.0 as well as the Lite XL. Before I talk about anything else on the outside of this tent, I'm actually going to take it up inside. Now, this is something I didn't really do on my previous cargo review videos. I actually spent a lot of time outside of the tent and really just giving people facts about the inside. But now I've got this mobile gimbal, I'm actually going to take you up into the tent, show you what's going on inside, show you how much space there is, show you some of the features and various different things inside, just to really get you excited, because that's what gets me excited, going in the tent and seeing it and imagine myself camping in there. These are the things that got me super excited, and I'm sure it will for you too. So let's cut away, let's head up there and I'll show you the inside. Okay, and I'm just going to set this here so I can chat to you a little bit. You've basically got 4 windows, so there's an access point obviously with the ladder on one side, that's what I've got here. There is another door opposite, and then there's 2 side doors. All of the doors and windows come with fly nets and covers as well. One of the big differences between the Lite 2.0 and the Lite 1.0 is the fact that the Lite 2.0 has got 2 skylight windows. Okay, so there's 2 windows to look out of, and I'll be honest with you, coming from a cargo which obviously had a solid roof, I like the fact that you can stargaze. And I did have a very clear night last night, and I laid there when I went to bed and looked up at the stars, and there was something very nice about that. Quite happy. I was quite happy. Like, it's quite warmful, you know, in terms of just for the body and the soul, or whatever you want to call it. I'm not a spiritual person at all, but there was something very, very nice about that. So that is one of the big advantages that I like about the Lite versus the cargo, is that you can see through the roof and look up at the stars. A couple of nights stargazing with your partner or with your family, nice, very, very nice. So that's one big positive I do like about this. Now, as I come up a little bit further into the tent, you'll have to bear with me just so I can get my angles going on. I don't want to get my chins in shots, bear with me. Here we go. Okay, so we're up inside the tent. I'm just going to shift and try and sit down as best I can. Okay, so like I said, quite roomy. Now, again, it's pros and cons with this. One of the reasons I picked the cargo is so I could sit up without my head hitting the roof. Now, if I had a classic, my head would hit the roof. I'm on a Lite and my head is hitting the roof. But like I say, it's not a major issue. If I shift over slightly more into the center, like under the, yeah, I can't touch I can't quite, even with my back straight, I can't quite get up to the top. So if you sit in the center, like I am, and you're bigger, you can sit up no problem, absolutely fine. So if you wanted to sit and change your shirt, or just even sit up, and obviously I'm leaning against the poles, which probably isn't a good idea. It's comfortable enough. I'm not putting too much weight on the poles, but I can sit up in here. Is it comfy? I wouldn't say so necessarily. It's not uncomfortable, but I wouldn't say, oh, I'm really comfortable. It's just not like that. Lying down, however, that was great. So like I said, I slept in here last night. I'm 6'3". I was fully outstretched. I even laid on my front at one point in time. So obviously by lying on front, you know, my toes are further out. Great, no problem whatsoever. And even in the cargo model, when I had that, my toes were touching the end lying on my front, and I didn't have that problem in here. Now, what you've basically got is, you can see them behind me. We've got ventilation holes there on both sides. When I slept in this last night, this has outer covers on, so you can cover this. So it's orange, you know, you can cover it. I just left the fly netting on last night so I could stargaze, and I did that all night. You know, I slept with like a thing over my eyes. So when I woke up this morning, I had like an eye cover on, and it didn't bother me the fact that it was sunny. So when I did wake up, I woke up. So you have that option. Obviously you can do that on the side doors as well. Like obviously you've got 2 side doors to look at. you know, to look through, sorry. You've got 2 side doors to look through. You've obviously got the other end door here. So there's plenty of vantage points for things to look around. Like I said, I'm on a campsite at the moment, and while I don't mind campsites, I much more prefer being sort of out in nature, you know, NC 500, kind of wild camping, that kind of thing. So, and obviously in my previous 10-month cargo review video, I showed some footage of places we've been, you know, car parks, you know, harbours, next to lakes, things like that. Having a tent like this to essentially be able to look out of all around, yeah, that'd be quite nice. Like I said, with the cargo, you had both sides and one end to look out of, but with this, essentially you can look out of all 4 sides and above as well. So that's quite cool. And that's, again, I said, you know, a lot of people say they're upgrading to the cargo, upgrading from a light to a cargo. I don't see it as an upgrade option. In the same way, from me going to a cargo to a light XL, I don't see that as a downgrade. It's a change, because the tents are completely different, okay? There's pros and cons to both. If you want speed of setup, a hard shell tent, you know, a tent where you can store canoes and kayaks on the top and things like that, you go for the cargo. If you want a tent that's a little bit less money, but still a great tent, something where you can stargaze at night by looking up, something with a bit more room, I think, even with this one, you know, you go for this tent. Now with this one, essentially the bars, so the bars are like the support bars for the tent are actually on the inside of the tent, whereas on the cargo model, obviously the gas lift struts are on the outside. I originally chose my cargo because I wanted the bars on the outside. Now I'm sitting here. Is it an issue? No, it's not. The benefit is, which I've seen people do in the Tentbox group on Facebook, is that you can actually clamp like arms to them, like iPad holders. So some people have like clamped an iPad holder to the bar, and then they've had like the iPad out in front of them, and then they can lie there at night watching the iPad or something like that. You couldn't do that in a cargo, because the clamp bars, there's nothing to clamp it to, they're on the outside, okay? We managed to figure out a way by putting the iPad up in the cargo netting, but this, I think, is a better solution. So again, it's all about pros and cons. I don't think there's any one definitive kind of, yes, that's better, or no, that's not better. I think it just depends entirely on how you maybe want to use the tent. Now, this brings me back to what I was talking about earlier, and again, I'm not going into it too much, but as I've mentioned, we've swapped our cargo for an XL. Now, I've not received my XL yet, but based on reviewing this, I actually think it's the best decision for us, and switching from a cargo to the XL, because I think the way that we will use this tent is better for us than what the cargo would be. We never carried kayaks and canoes on top of the cargo. Yes, it was beneficial to have the quicker setup time, but like I've said, for me, that's first world problems, okay? Like, if it takes a bit longer, it takes a bit longer, it's fine. The big advantage to me for this, and like I said, my XL, would be having a bit more space. But even in here, it's plenty of room for 2 people. And I just wanted to get that across. Like, I think it's important to stress that. So one of the last things I really wanted to mention before I jumped out of here, finished showing you the inside, was basically just to mention that on the side of the tent, you've basically got some extra little pockets. So they look a bit like this. They're just black pockets, enough room to store various little bits and bobs in. There's actually 4 pockets, so there's 2 on each side of the tent, which I think is a really nice addition, a little bit of extra storage room. And yeah, it just kind of finishes off the tent, and it makes it look really good. So the other big thing I guess you want to know is, what was it like to sleep in last night? And what I would say, in the simplest of answers, is very, very comfortable. I had a very good night's sleep last night. Now, apparently, I didn't realize this, but the mattress in the Lite 2.0, and I'm assuming the Lite XL, is different than the mattress that I had in my original cargo. Lucas, who came to sort of chat to me yesterday from Tentbox, was saying that this is a new mattress, but I believe he said this is a double foam mattress with a memory foam topper on top, and I'm not gonna lie, it was very comfortable last night. It was very nice. I want to say that a lot of people in the Facebook group were adding memory foam, memory foam toppers to mattress toppers. So I think what Tentbox have done is made the decision to add one into the actual mattress itself. So what I would say, for those of you reading previous posts and stuff thinking, do I need to buy a mattress topper with this tent? I think my answer would be, it's going to be different for everybody, but see how you get on. And but know that this mattress does have a memory foam topper built into it. And also consider that I'm 6'3", I've had back surgery, so a good night's sleep on a good mattress is important to me. Not only did I have a good night's sleep, but I've woke up without any pain today. That's important, okay? So definitely thumbs up, kudos to the Tentbox team for putting a memory foam topper inside this mattress. But I have found what I would say is one negative, but it's not a deal breaker, okay? It's not enough for me to say don't buy this tent. And that is simply, some of the zips are a bit fiddly to open and close. And generally speaking, I found that those zips are on the side windows. And the issues that I'm having with the zips are more on the corners, and you can kind of see it here where the fabric is sort of folded a little bit, and it's not a straight track. It's sort of the zips, you kind of have to fiddle them and move them through. Again, it's never been jammed before. I've not had a zip jam or anything like that. It's just that they're a bit more fiddly. So again, just be mindful of that when you're going into this. It's not a deal breaker. I'm not going to cancel my order for my Lite XL because of this, because overall, I am really enjoying this tent so far. Very much so. And like I said, I've already spoke about the positives that I've found, but in the spirit of impartiality, I would say so far, that's the only negative.
One small but significant update that Tentbox have made to the new tent is the new tent pole bag. Users of the first Lite model reported losing their poles and or pole bags on several occasions. So Tentbox decided to make a new pole bag that attaches to the C channel on the underside of the tent. You still need to be responsible for your poles, but now you can just keep the pole bag attached to the C channel, and when you pack the tent away, the bag just closes away with everything else. You can also see a closer shot here of the new outer cover, rolled up and strapped in place for convenient storage. This is the new zip that runs all around the bottom of the outer cover to keep it in place. This is different than the original Lite 1.0, where the outer cover was just held down with Velcro straps. Under the base of the tent, you'll also find the addition of some new accessory hooks. Tentbox have indicated that they plan to launch some accessories in the future, but as of yet, haven't indicated to me any products or timescales. One of the big improvements to this tent is actually the ladder, which has been dubbed foot-friendly. This means that when the ladder is extended and in place at an angle, the steps now lay flat, making it much more comfortable to climb in and out of the tent if you're barefoot or wearing socks. The last major improvement for this model and the XL is the new outer cover, also known as the travel cover. It's thicker material, more waterproof, and it zips all the way around the base with additional straps for support, making it much more secure when driving. There is also additional material underneath, making it more weather sealed than the previous cover on the Lite 1.0. The other important change is that the cover isn't as snug and has a little more room to fit over the base. It's not as much of a squeeze anymore, making it much easier to take on and off. Finally, I just wanted to mention that the big addition with the Lite 2.0 and the Lite XL will be the new annexes. The main difference with the new annexes is that they will cover the ladder, whereas the Lite 1.0 annex does not cover the ladder. This means you will be able to climb up and down your ladder with added privacy and without getting wet on a rainy day. Both tents will have two versions of the Annex, a longer version for higher vehicles like mine, and a shorter version for lower vehicles, so there will be an Annex to fit every vehicle. Be sure to keep an eye on my channel for my Annex review when I receive it.
Now, I know you've been listening to me for a while, but there's one more thing I want to talk about that's really important before I move on to the summary of this video, and it's basically to do with if you're going to buy this tent and have it fitted together with a Tentbox awning, like I do. Now, I know what you're thinking. Where's your Tentbox awning? It's not there. I'll explain why. So essentially what happened yesterday is I arrived, I folded the tent off the car, which is on the other side, and then I got all the poles in place. Then I came around here to put these poles in, and they wouldn't fit in. I couldn't get them in the holes because the awning was in the way. So there's a few different ways we could do it. We've took the awning off on this occasion just to make life easier, but I obviously do plan on having this awning on when I've got my Lite XL. This is something that none of us thought about, and we only discovered this yesterday. So I'm the first person to mention this problem, but the reason I wanted to mention it was so that you at home, if you're going to have this configuration, Tentbox Lite 2.0, an XL and an awning, that basically you're going to run into this problem. You need to create a bigger gap behind the awning, shove the tent over to be able to get your poles in. It's a top tip, and I just wanted to mention it because it's something that did come up yesterday. We all agreed was something really important, and we just felt that in the interests of letting everybody know, we obviously didn't want people in the future, because it would lead to lots of questions like, why can't I do this? Why can't I get my poles in? I had the same problem yesterday. Lucas from Tentbox graciously came out here. He really helped me figure this out. We set everything up. But like I said, we thought the path of least resistance yesterday was just to take the awning off. But obviously in the future, what I plan to do when I get my XL is just offset the XL further over the roof bars, create that bigger gap so I can get the poles in the back. So yeah, top tip from me using this tent for the first time.
So how do I sum up my experience with this tent? Well, it was easy enough to open up and close by myself, but it will definitely be easier with two people. It took me just under 6 minutes on my first attempt, but with more practice and an extra person, I could easily get that down to 3 or 4 minutes. Just remember to buy a step ladder to make your life easier. It's also definitely a 2-person tent, but still with plenty of room inside. If you need to fit more people, check out either the Lite 1.0 or the Lite XL. There have been significant upgrades to the build quality of this tent, both with the tent itself and the outside travel cover. The fabrics, the stitching and the zips, everything has been upgraded, and you can really feel the difference. The tent is more waterproof than the Lite 1.0. The fabrics have a higher water repellency and a higher UV protection rating. The outer rainfly cover, aka the hood, provides an additional layer of weather protection. It's also made from Cordura, meaning it won't fade over time. Removing the hood transforms the tent into summer mode, but it's worth mentioning that the tent is still water repellent without the hood inside. Removing the hood transforms the tent into summer mode, but it's worth mentioning that the tent is still water repellent without the hood installed. The hood just gives it that extra layer of protection. The mattress is far comfier, featuring dual layer memory foam, including a memory foam topper within the mattress. It's also waterproof now, which is great if you have any accidental spillages. You've also got that extra skylight for an epic stargazing experience. Extra ventilation now means less condensation, and I can state that in both nights I slept in this tent, I had 0 condensation in the mornings, and that was without leaving any of the windows or doors slightly open. Fewer poles make setting the tent up and breaking it down far quicker. And last but not least, the new ladder is far more comfortable to climb. All in all, I'm very impressed with this tent. It was easy to set up and I had a super comfy night's sleep. All the improvements made have benefited both the tent and my experience with it. If you feel this tent might be the one for you, all I can say is don't hesitate. I can highly recommend it, and when you place your order, remember to enter my unique code at checkout to grab yourself a discount. The link is also in the description of this video. I hope you have as much fun with this tent as I did. Thanks for watching and happy adventuring.